All right, guys, I want to give you a quote, and it's from one of my favorite coaches, Javier Mendez, leader, head of, founder, the AKA. Coach Javier Mendez came out and said, this is a quote now, I personally would like to see Alex next for Islam. There is unfinished business in my mind. End quote. Now, first off, I love the competitor in Coach Mendez. That is the hardest fight you could possibly go and find. Oh, by the way, not Chael's opinion. It's already happened, and it was the hardest fight that either of them had ever found. And now you have the coach asking to do it again. Going to risk everything. Going to put it all up. Not about money, not about the draw, not about anything. It's about competition. And that's awesome. Now, I didn't see the whole interview. I don't know if I have context. Here's my question. Is Coach Mendez saying, was this in relation to after Islam fights and beats Charles? Because the quote that I just said to you specifically says, I would like to see him next. I don't think Charles is going to fight Islam in Abu Dhabi. I don't think that because Charles told the world that 3 times. So, is that what he's talking about? I mean, it is curious for me. I really am not trying to give Charles a hard time. I'm just trying to tell you guys where I have a bit of a problem telling you that it's going to be Charles and Islam. Let's start talking about it. And here's the X's and O's, and here's why it's going to be different. And here's the changes you can expect. I have a hard time doing that when a principal in this store, there's only 2 guys. One of them, 50% of this entire conversation said, I'm not doing it. 3 times. Through hearsay, we're told that he is. Through hearsay. It's been announced. Contract signed. I believe that. I've yet to hear Charles say, I'm going to do it. I haven't heard it. I heard other people say he's going to do it. I heard him say 3 times he's not. Now, am I making a big deal of that? Yeah, a little bit. A little bit I am. But it was yesterday. I'm in bed. I'm scrolling through the dirt sheets. My whole family's asleep, and I'm up till 2 in the morning. I'm scrolling through the dirt sheets. I see a comment by Charles. He says, I'd still really like to fight Conor McGregor. I believe him. But it was yet another time that I've heard from Charles. I haven't heard anything from Charles about Islam on Fight Island in October. I just haven't yet. So when I see Coach Mendez's comments, I would assume that had I seen the whole article, this probably is into relation of looking forward. Hey, we got Charles next. We're going to get through Charles. We were 3-1 favorite the first time. We're now a 4-1 favorite. We're getting through Charles. I'd like to see Alex. Which, from what we've been told, is the direction. From what we were told, and this was a meaningful amount of time ago and things do change fast, but after their fight in Perth, Alex, Islam, very close, very competitive, little controversy on there. We were told that the athletes were told, if you both win your next matches, I will book the rematch. So it looks like that's the direction we're going. And I'm just wondering, because see, I think there's another piece for Fight Island. And my statement to you, I don't think Charles is going to show up because I heard him say, okay, fair enough. But I'm actually trying to make a different point when I say that. Like, that is very accurate and very literal that he did 3 times that I heard say he was going to do it. I have yet to hear him say he's fighting Islam on that date. I've heard other people say, like, that's all true. But the point I'm trying to make, the last time Islam and Charles fought, Volkanovski inserted himself to a very high level. He said, I am the backup fighter. I am training. I am flying out there. I'm putting on the size, and I will be ready. I am doing all of these things. Okay, Volk, have you been informed by the organization? No, I'm informing the organization. I don't care if they book someone else. They don't book anybody at all. Here's what I'm going to do. I'll pay my own way. But I will be there, and I will be ready. It was awesome. It was this awesome thing by Volk, who then was there, and Daniel Cormier calls him in the ring. They get this face-off. We go on and have one of the more special and unexpected matches of the last decade. We expect to see a 45-pound champ and a 55-pound champ, right? And then when we did, it wasn't supposed to be close. It's here for you. It was a real treat, and now we do want to see it again. And I think there is a missing piece for Abu Dhabi, even if Chael's wrong. If Charles has said 20 times, I'm fighting him on this date, those interviews where they said I didn't say that was a misinterpretation, if that has happened around me, and I don't know, I mean, that would be stunning that there would be some, I can't really live in this world, but if that happened, it would still feel as though, since you are redoing two guys in the same sport, the same weight class, for the same belt, in the same location, so we're doing everything the same for a rematch, it would seem as though we will also have a backup fighter. If we weren't positive the first time, it would seem there's no reason to be positive the second time, which is where a backup fighter comes in. I just think that that's really interesting because Justin Gaethje, out of nowhere, says that he believes he is now the number one contender, of which nobody is going to dispute. I mean, Gaethje comes out and says, I'm not interested in the trilogy with Poirier. Even tells Poirier that, hey, let's not do this. Let's call it. We're even. Let's go through life and let's call it. And goes right into Islam. I mean, what a stud, Justin Gaethje. Come on. Come on. Just going into that fight and calling for Dustin Poirier, and then he throws this kick that he's never thrown before, and he's got the BMF belt, and then he wants an even harder match. It was one of these spots where, okay, there's no real way to deny it. Not to mention, there's not other competitors that are speaking up and attempting to ruffle feathers. At the same time, I don't think the organization is going to go 3 deep on commitments. I just don't think they're going to make a commitment to Charles for a title opportunity. A commitment to Volk, if you can wait long enough, we don't know when it'll be, but it will come and you're next. And then say the same thing to Gaethje. If you wait long enough, it will go in this order. You're going to sit out with nothing to do and no paycheck. As long as nobody gets hurt or injured or changes their mind or leaves weight classes. I mean, what if you do that? What if you sit around, you wait for a year? I mean, it's just one of those interesting... Just think about everybody else that's in the division. Okay, it's a year before I can even be in a discussion of getting a world title fight because we're 3 deep. I don't know about that. I think that's a problem that needs to be solved. And I think you solve it by taking one of those guys and you make him the backup fighter. I think. And Javier Mendez's statement, to me, made perfect sense and come from a competitive standpoint, and I'm glad that he said it. I'm just not clear if he is suggesting, when he says for Islam's next opponent, does he mean his next opponent? People do that. There's like this weekend and next weekend, you get really confused. Like, well, next weekend is the next weekend, which is this weekend. They're like, no, that's this weekend. The next week is that. It's the same thing with the next fight. If a guy's already got a contract signed, some people would say, well, that's this fight. They say next fight is it's the next fight. Is that what happened here? I'm a little bit confused. Does Coach Mendez believe that Charles Oliveira is coming in on weight in October in Abu Dhabi? That's my question.